now Journey to Success with Pete Asmus. Tonight, mindset to action steps and everything in between. We are about you, focusing on what you need to get to that next level. So get ready, get excited, because we are about to get started. From coast to coast, your host, Pete, the visionary pitbull, Asmus. All right. Hey, there you go, man. Tonight is going to be awesome. I promise you that. Tonight we're going to be talking all about motivation. We're going to be talking about willpower. We're going to be talking about pain. We're going to be talking about all the bad things that happen in our lives and how we deal with that. My name is Pete Asmus, and I'm going to be your host tonight. This is Journey to Success. We are on number, I think it's 91 at this point, 91 of these webinars. And today is March 29th, 2015. So I'm really excited about what we're talking about tonight. One of the main reasons kind of is the fact that I think that we all think about these overnight successes. We all think about the fact that, man, you know, I want to be here so bad. I want to be here so bad. I want to be here so bad. Yet the work and the effort that it takes to get there is extreme. You know, when you think about going to the top of a mountain, right? And hiking to the top of a mountain, not a lot of people do it because it's extremely challenging, right? Especially if you have to camp out on the side, hanging off the side of a cliff. Man, there's not a lot of people that are going to feel comfortable doing that type of thing, right? And so life, success, it's all kind of the same. It's that peak. It's that thing that's way over there that we want to get to. But the reality is there's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of issues, obstacles, and things in our way, and they're going to consistently be there. And I think a lot of times we want it for free. I mean, and when I mean free, I'm not just talking about money. I mean, we want it for free as in we want that genie, right? I think one of the reasons magic and all these things are so ingrained in our culture, and we're so enamored by, you know, the Power Rangers, or we're enamored by, you know, witches, or we're enamored by, you had the vampires, and you have all these different genres, right? And it's all around mysticism. It's all around doing what? It's about doing the impossible. I want somebody to come and rescue me, right? On a prince, on a tall prince with a horse, right? Women are always thinking that they want that guy to come and rescue them, to come and sweep them off their feet. We want these things that are unimaginable because the life that we live, we're not happy with. The life that we live sucks, man. So I want to be able to rub a lamp and instantly get 3 wishes. Oh man, if I got 3 wishes, I want to be able to pay $1 and get a lottery ticket and instantly win $1 million. Man, if I had that $1 million. The problem is, and the problem that a lot of us do not look at, is the fact that if I handed you $1 million right now, most likely in less than a year, you wouldn't have it. And now your life would be way worse than it was before. And you're saying, well, no, that's not. Are you kidding me, Pete? What are you talking about? But the reality is, it's true. If you look at 95% of the lottery winners, they're broke and in worse situations than they were before they won. They're in worse situations than before they won within like 3 years. And the reason is, how did they make the money? They made it off of a lottery ticket. They made it off of something super simple that they were picked at random. They didn't make it because they put in effort. They didn't make it because it was a skill or a talent or it was a connection they made, or it was some result of some task that they did. They handed somebody $1 and somebody gave them back a ticket, and magically they won. You can't replicate that. You can't repeat that, right? I mean, you could, but what are the chances? Like, let's get out of being stupid at this point, right? Let's not shoot. Like, I'm not saying shoot for the stars and hopefully land right in front of you. I'm saying shoot for the stars and hit the moon. That means you have to have some kind of educated decision on what you're doing. It doesn't mean that you just do anything and randomly run through fences, right? It means we've got to know what we're doing. When I wrote in my post, and I'm going to get into that in a little bit, when I wrote that, look, I kept going after ideas and dreams, even when I didn't know how to do them, or I didn't do that. I hadn't done them before, and I'd failed at something similar. Like, I didn't even care. My vision was getting after my dream, right? It was accomplishing that dream. However, I didn't run around naked, right, in Newport Beach and go, man, I'm sure this will get me attention and I'll get rich. I wasn't stupid about it, right? I wasn't ignorant about the way and the way which the world works. So when we sit there and go, well, man, I want to be successful, right? But then when it comes down to doing the work, man, come on. When it comes down to doing the work, there we go. All we do is find challenges. All we do is find excuses. All we do is find reasons why we can't do it, right? Well, no, Pete, but it's not an excuse. It's not an excuse. Like, I have to do this. I have to go to work. I have to pick up my child. I have to go to sleep. I have to eat. I have to this. I have to that. I have to this. Look, I get it. You have to. There's only 24 hours in a day, though. And I make sure that whatever my have-tos are, that they are leveraging me as far as possible, right? Meaning, I'm not going to just jump on any kind of phone call. I'm not going to just jump on and go meet any person just randomly. My time has become way more valuable than that. I've also made my time more valuable than that. Look, if you guys just run and jump at anything, right, then you're not able to really focus and get what you want. So what I want you to do is look at your life and look at what you actually want. What are your goals, right? What do you, I keep saying this and it sounds like I feel like a broken record. What do you want? But that's really what it's all about. When I looked at what I wanted out of life, when I looked at, a few years ago when I had my probably my darkest moment ever, and I was sitting in that car and I was thinking, okay, well, if I was going to kill myself, what would I do? I don't want it to be painful, right? I'm not going to go and like, I don't know. I just didn't want to, I just figured something that would be easy. And it was like, oh, well, if I drive off a cliff, that'd be simple. And thinking about that, like that pain, it was like, okay, well, that would end the pain, right? That would alleviate all that challenge. See, it's weird too, because I have a problem. I have a hard time saying problem. I say challenge. It's even weird. When I was writing something, I had to write it differently because I always put a positive spin on everything. I mean, even it's like, look, man, these challenges are going to be incredible. Hell no, they're not going to be incredible. I don't want them, but that's what I say. It's an automatic thought for me. Anytime I'm getting into something new, it's like, man, this is going to be awesome. Even if I don't think it's going to be awesome, I'm still going to say it. I'm going to readjust my words so that the intent behind whatever I do is a positive one, right? So, what does that really mean, though? When I'm saying the excuses, guys, we all have 24 hours in a day. We all have a life. We all have family. We have friends. We have a job. We have this. We have that. I get it. What I'm telling you is to get to that top of the mountain, you're going to have to camp on the side of the mountain. You're going to have to hike. You're going to be hungry. You're going to be thirsty. And I tell people at the beginning of the journey, I'm like, look, it's going to be difficult. And they're like, yeah, I got it, man. I'm pumped. Like, you are not. You have no idea what I'm saying right now. I'm telling you it's going to be hard. And you're looking at me going, yeah, okay, I got this. Believe me, you don't got this shit. It is going to be difficult. It's going to be hard. And I'm only saying that because I really want to drive home the fact, I don't want you to focus on the hard, but I want to drive home the fact that when you all of a sudden are tripping and you're falling and you're like, this sucks, I hate this, I want you to remember I said it was going to be hard. Because that's when you need it. When you fall, that's when you need the help up. When you're having a great day, man, I don't need to pick you up then. Nobody does. You're already in a great mood. You're already doing fine. I'm talking about when you're looking in the mirror going, how come everything I do doesn't work? I'm talking about when you're looking in the mirror going, I don't have anybody I could borrow money from. I don't know anybody that I could borrow money from. How am I going to pay this bill? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? And I'd say go back and look at all the challenges you've had in your life. My wife, a lot of times in the past, and really kind of whenever we have a really difficult struggle ahead of us or something, Shannon will always say to me, Pete, we've always made it through. Like, you've always figured out to get a way to get through everything that we've been through. So don't stress, just find a solution. And to me, man, I mean, that's awesome. She understands the fact that we're not perfect. She understands the fact that we're going to make mistakes. And she understands the fact that sometimes it's about risking everything. And sometimes when you risk everything, it still may not work. For me, I've lost things twice, completely lost it all twice. Like, what the, are you kidding me? How does that happen? It happens off the operators. It happens off of a multitude of different reasons, right? But the reality was, it was all a stepping stone. I failed over and over and over and over and over and over and over to get where I am now. And now now the why me is huge. Now the why me is incredible. Because now I can say, look, I do own two of the largest I own the second largest LinkedIn group and the fourth largest LinkedIn real estate group on LinkedIn. I have a radio show. I have a magazine. Gentry Group has done over 10,000 deals with over 1 billion sold. We have 250 agents, half of which are investors. Believe me when I tell you, I have all the confidence in the world that I can help investors take their investing to a whole new level. I have zero issue saying that. None. Because I have 10,000 reasons that prove what I'm saying is true. I have 1 billion reasons to show you that we can sell property. My why me is huge. But it didn't start that way. That's what I want people to realize. It did not start that way. It started with me and a son that had cancer, and me being losing my job. My son had cancer. I lost my job, and I didn't know what the hell to do. And I ended up getting involved in real estate. I ended up getting my grandma was in real estate. I figured, hey, this is a great thing. I went and got involved with Robert Allen, got into mobile homes, built up this huge thing, and then boom, the bottom dropped because the contractor ended up taking off with, man, like 5 different jobs worth of income. The project manager had paid him way too much up front and basically put me in a position that either I had to say to all of the investors that I'd helped and trained, hey, look, I don't know what to tell you, but you're shit out of luck. Or I had to step up and sell the 2 properties I had and basically wipe out all of the savings that I had at that time to be able to fix the situation so that I didn't have my name dragged through and sued and this and that. Because for me, morally, it was more important to take care of them, right? But it completely devastated me. Completely. I hated real estate after that. I didn't even want to touch it. Are you kidding me? I just built for 3 years. I just built this huge company for me, and this way out, right? Prior to that, I was building this other company, and then I was in the car business, and I was a trainer, and I mean, I'd done all kinds of things. I'd worked for somebody else. I was an employee. But I didn't want to be an employee anymore. I was done. I was done being an employee. It was time for me to take my life in my own hands. And so then when this happens, I'm like, man, how in the world? How could this happen? I actually had another job offer while I was with them and turned it down to deal with this bullshit that I had to deal with. I turned down a job to stay at the company I was with to go through the nightmare I was about to go through and give them all my money. That's how important it was for me, for my integrity to stay intact. That's how important it was for me that at the core of who I was, people saw it. Look, man, I may have not pulled all the right decisions. I may have not had the right team there at the time. I may have made this mistake, and this mistake. But the one thing I didn't do was I didn't screw my investors. The one thing I didn't do was I didn't hurt my students that way. I didn't do anything like that. I ensured that they were safe, and then I just backed out and went, I'm done. And then within a month, I ended up working with that other job that had hired or that had wanted me, ended up bringing me back. And so I ended up going and I was working for Armando, and I started doing real properties now, right? So no longer mobile homes. Now I was getting in, I was like, okay, this will save me. Because now the problem with mobile homes that I had was that the mobile homes, they don't have a real MLS. So it's really difficult to tell how fast things are selling unless you literally live in the park. With real property, well, there's difference, right? Now I've got MLSs, I've got all kinds of safety instruments to protect myself. And then here we go and we get into some big giant deal, and the contractor ends up completely lying to us, sends us fake claims, sends us fake pictures, sends us fake, all kinds of stuff. And now, again, for the second time, poof, everything I had, I'm now in this huge lawsuit to try and get back some of our money, just some of it. And so a lot of people would be like, F this, man, I am out of here. But to me, just because that road didn't work doesn't mean that doesn't work. I know that it works. I know real estate investing works. I know millions of people become millionaires off of real estate. So I know that it works. Who was making the bad decisions? Me, not anybody else. So I had to take responsibility. It was after that second time that I was sitting in that car going, man, I should just end my life. Like, this is crazy. I obviously don't know what the hell I'm doing. I obviously am, right? And now this is my self-talk. This is me talking to myself, telling me what a piece of shit I am, right? So that'll really elevate my mental attitude, and that'll really elevate where, and I'm sorry I'm cussing. I'm so pumped about doing this webinar right now because I really want you guys to understand what we're talking about and how pain can really help motivate you and give you the willpower that you need. See, in that moment, when I was sitting in the car and I pictured driving off the road, and obviously you make that decision, right? You got 13 seconds to live through it, and then boom, everything's over. And I started thinking about my girls, and I started thinking about them getting older, and literally I started crying because I was like, fuck, man, I can't not be here for that. I can't. I have to be here for that. So, and this is where, I don't know, man, I felt so hopeless because at this moment in time, I felt like everything I'd done, I failed at. I had nobody that I could count on. I couldn't talk to anybody because I was supposed to know what I was doing, right? So how can I go and share with anybody like all this pain and trouble that I'm going through? So I felt so alone. I felt all by myself. I couldn't even feel like I could talk to my wife because I didn't want her to look at me as a weak person. I didn't want her to look at me as a failure. I didn't want to say, hey, I screwed up again. I didn't want to do that. But I also didn't have any other choice because I wasn't going to not come home. And I thought, what are my girls going to think? And what are they going to think about me? And so at that point is when the light switch flipped. And I just took responsibility for right where I was. I said, it's my fault. I made the mistakes. I'm the one that didn't check fully. I knew something was wrong and I could feel it, but I didn't fully investigate it. Everything is my fault. It's all my fault. And once I realized it was my fault, and as horrible as that made me feel, the only other thing I could do is go, how am I going to get the hell out of here? And then I just worked on the plan. And I started looking at my focus. I started looking at where I wanted to be. I looked at my destination, not at all the obstacles and challenges and things that were in my way. I have been telling you guys for years that I was going to have a TV show. Years. Last year, I said, by the end of this year, I'll be on TV. This year, I'm going to say that again. Except this year, I know it's going to happen. I'm already in treatment. I was writing scripts last night. I was writing a script last night, the whole intro to the show, everything that we're doing on this. I was, it's crazy. It's just crazy to me. And I'm talking to the producer, or he's kind of like a designer or a show builder. He's got 10 shows right now. And yesterday we were on the phone, and he goes, we started talking. I said, look, even if I'm interviewing this rehabber or flipper, even if they're deadpan, it doesn't matter. I'll start making fun of them. I'll do whatever to spark it up. Like, they will not give me no responses. And part of what the show is going to be is a competition between people to see who can do things better, right? And I'm going to just leave it at that. And so, when we were talking, he goes, hold on, can you wait a second? I want you to tell my wife, she's a producer at CBS, and I want her to hear your energy. And so for the next 45 minutes, his wife and I and him talked on the phone. And by the end, they were saying, I just want you to know, out of the 10 shows that we're pushing and we're building right now, yours is by far our favorite. There's something very unique about what we're doing. What we're doing hasn't been on TV before. What you want to do hasn't been on TV before. And the personality that you have, it's like you're ready now. I have the why me's and I have all this. And it was crazy to hear that. I mean, it was almost surreal. It was almost like, are you like, stop it. Like, this is what I want. Like, stop saying what you're saying. And he starts saying to me, Man, Pete, I just want to really thank you for your time. I want to thank you for allowing me to help you build this show. I want to thank you, Pete, for letting me be a part of this with you. And I was like, I literally stopped. I'm like, dude, are you messing with me right now? Like seriously, are you messing with me? And he's like, he starts laughing. He's like, no, what do you mean? I'm like, this is my dream. Like, my dream is to be on TV, inspiring the world, like showing them how to do things and making it entertainment, making it fun. If you've ever listened to any of my radio shows, I'm always at the end when I interview somebody, I'm always the first question, did you have fun? Did you have fun? Because if you had fun, I know we can make a difference. If you didn't, this ain't ever happening again. So for me, it's always about having fun. It's about creating that world, right? But it's also about taking away all of the excuses. You can't leave the excuses in your way. Guys, believe me when I tell you, I've got a million excuses that I can give you. My son had cancer. My daughter has alopecia. I mean, I could keep going, but I don't need to. You all have your own issues too. And here's the thing, your issues are just as valid. You may not have had a child that has cancer, but that doesn't matter. The challenges that you have are just as real, and they're just as heartbreaking, and they're just as frustrating to get around and get through. I get that. Don't ever think that I'm comparing my challenges with you, because that's not what I'm doing. All I want to do is show you, and really, I wasn't even going to say anything about it. And I had Tiffany, who is with the credit repair company, was talking to me, and she's like, you've got to tell your story. Because I think that a lot of people, especially ones that see me now and that meet me now, and they're like, oh man, here, I've got all these platforms, I'm doing all these things. And so it just looks like either A, I was handed it looks like, man, it was easy for me, it looks like this. And the reality is, none of that is true. It's been painstaking work every step of the way. Every step. I feel like I get a break and I don't. And even as excited as I am now, I still deal with BS from people, and not in a negative. Well, it sucks, but I don't mean that as in like they're awful people. I mean, as in they don't have time. They don't get back to me right away. I am such an action taker, right? So when I deal with somebody that's slow, it pisses me off to no end. Like I just freak out. If I have to repeat myself, I start losing my mind. I mean, I will literally light somebody up. Like, don't make me repeat myself over and over again. I don't have time to do this. I've already told you once. Now you've made me tell you 3 times. Forget it. I'll get somebody else to do it. I don't need that kind of aggravation. My life is moving at such a fast pace now because I've created it. I need to keep people around me that keep me at that elevated pace, that keep me driving to that destination that I want to go, right? However, there always comes times when it just doesn't matter. To get up, you're going to have to keep dealing with it. And that's what I really realized, was that it's about me focusing on other people. And it's about the fact that all of the ideas I have, I'm going to always put in more work. Man, I was with Chris today, a really good friend of mine that we started Aqua Gyms back. I think it was like 10 years ago, 11 years ago now that we started that. And we had that company for a couple years. And he goes, I told him that, some of the challenges and some of the changes some of the changes that have been happening in my life and kind of where I am now. And he's like, it's crazy. But I felt like XYZ was taking advantage of you. And he's like, I'm glad to see that, that's changed and this has changed. And then he goes, nobody, I don't know anybody on earth that wants to work as hard as you do. And I was blown away by that statement. And I was like, what? And he's like, most people that would have worked as hard and as long as you do would have burned out by now. He's like, I don't know anybody that can work as hard and as long as you do consistently. For 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, I have been burning my wick at both ends to create my reality. Sometimes it's worked and sometimes it hasn't. But the thing is I've never stopped. Mark Gold, I had a meeting with him last Thursday, and the meeting was at 1 o'clock. I leave my house the meeting was at 12 o'clock. I left my house at 11 to get to BJ's that was, I think, 35 minutes away from me, right? By noon, I'm basically halfway there. So an hour has gone by. I'm on the freeway and I'm literally in stop and go traffic. So at this time, I'm being pretty vocal at this point. I'm like in my car yelling. I'm pissed, man. I am so mad that I'm in this traffic. I hate traffic. I feel like I'm wasting my time. And Mark had texted me and said, hey, you know, if this is too easy or if this is too difficult, we can reschedule. And I just went to, no, what do you mean reschedule? Are you kidding me? I've already spent an hour going here. I'm not going to stop now and turn around and go home. That's not how I work, right? I've said before, look, guys, if you got up and you went to go to work and the freeway to go to work was shut down, would you go back and go home? No, you'd find another way to work. And that's the same thing I told Mark. Mark, I'm going to find another way there. And I got off the freeway and I took side streets. And it took me another hour. 2 hours later, I was at the meeting with Mark. I didn't let excuses. I don't let excuses get in my way. Now, I may be pissed and kicked and screaming the whole way along, but I will still follow through. I will still get it done. I may not be happy about it. And I say that, but I should say I always do my best to be as happy as I possibly can, right? And I am doing better because I'm starting to realize when things happen, it's like, hold on, this needs to happen for me to grow. This needs to happen for this to happen. And I also have realized that a lot of times, as bad as I think something is, a lot of times that bad thing ended up creating the opportunity for something even better to happen. But a lot of times it's hard for us to look at that in the middle of it. It's hard for us to look in the middle of going through a foreclosure or look in the middle of us just completely effing up our credit and go, well, look, man, this is, you know, when I was going through all of this, I jacked my credit up. And that was one of the things that this month I had to go back and do because of what we want to do. I want to get back to an 800 score, right? So that means that I have to fix some of these challenges that I've had in the past. And yeah, we had a foreclosure. Yeah, we had a lot of issues like 7 years ago. 7 years ago. And I have put my head down in the sand for that long that I just didn't do anything. One, I didn't want to remember back when I didn't have good credit, when all my life felt like it was falling apart and I lost a truck. And I had a car repossessed. I mean, this is all kinds of stuff happened like 7 or 8 years ago when my son had cancer and I fell apart. I didn't want to relive that moment. I've been hiding from that moment, right? But I have to get to where I want to go. If I want to get to an 800 score, I've got to fix all those issues in my past. Now, those didn't stop me from buying a LinkedIn group. They haven't stopped me from doing real estate. My credit hasn't stopped me from doing what I wanted to do and getting where I wanted to go. But it is preventing me from getting farther. Now, ego, that's difficult for me to share with you. I don't want to share that with you. Why would I want to tell anybody I have bad credit, right? How big of a loser does that make me feel like? But at the same time, if I don't share that and if I don't become accountable, I'm going to continue to be there. And I'd rather in 4 months be looking at you going, I'm a 700 score now. I'm a 720 now. And I did it through doing this. You don't have to be scared either. I realize that a lot of times people want to see a witness. They want to see an example. And the one thing that I'm really, really good at is taking action. I can definitely jump. I can jump right now. The problem is with me a lot of times is I will jump too fast and get into the mix. But for me, that's the only way I know how to adjust it, by getting in and then getting active. And then you can see the results you're getting and you can adjust accordingly. But you've got to believe in you. And even if you haven't done it before, you've got to believe that you can do whatever you want. You got to believe in you, right? All right, so let me move. Let's go to our next slide. Questions are the key. That is one of the quotes that I say all the time. It's not about what you've done. It's about what you're going to do, right? What you're going to do. Yeah. Again, this goes back to even if you look at credit or you look at your past history or whatever, right? It's not about where you were. It's not about what you've done. It's not about who you were. It's not even about who you are right now or where you are right now. It's about where you're going. Where do you want to go? What do you really want out of life? And what are you willing to sacrifice? Because man, believe me, none of this is free. It's all going to take time, energy, and money. All of it. But if you don't, here's the next best thing that you get. You get to work for somebody else. You get to go and build somebody else's dreams. You get to go and have somebody else tell you what your value is. And you get to go and have the opportunity to work with the reality that at any moment they can fire you. And now you don't have a job again. You don't have income again. And not only that, but you haven't set up your own life. So you're not even positioned to be able to become a self-employed person. So my thing is, if you're working for somebody else right now, start becoming self-employed immediately. The reality is, even if you work for somebody else, you're self-employed because we are our own image. But just because you work for somebody else from 9 to 5 or whatever that is, the rest of the time, that's when that extra work's going to come in. That's when you need to start building your business. You need to start building your company. You need to start designing your life. The only way you can do that is a lot of times, right? You can do it on your own. You can go read a book. You can do this, do that. Or you can find other people that are doing it at a high level and partner with them. You can find other people that are doing it at a high level and copy them, model them, get the results that they're getting. What are they doing that's so terrific? What are they doing that's so different? What is their unique selling proposition, USP? What is yours? What makes you unique? Believe me, we're all unique. So what makes you unique? What are all those different skill sets that you have that when you put them together, all of a sudden, oh, you'd be perfect for this? When we were looking at hosting the TV show, are you kidding? It's just crazy, but when obviously you may not know, but I want to say, do you know how many things that I have that set me up for this? How many jobs I've had in the past? When I was in college, I did sketch comedy. I did sketch comedy for 3 years. We traveled all over Oregon and Washington doing that. Now, the reason that that's important is because doing reality TV or live TV, live radio, all of that, you've got to be quick on your feet. I've had years of practice of doing that, right? I've done video. I've done filming. Those headshots that I did, that picture right there, those are me. I took those pictures. That's my equipment. I set it up, and then Shannon behind it just goes and takes them for me. I don't let anything become a reality. For me, or I don't let anything become an obstacle. For me, right there, I've lifted all my anchors. I've taken them. I've gotten rid of them. Now, it doesn't, well, I'd love to say all of them, but that's just not true. I definitely have anchors. I definitely still have anchors, and I fight every day to get rid of them, right? Like the anchor with the credit. You know what I mean? It's the ego, man. The ego is a nightmare. The ego is rough. We don't want to be wrong. We don't want to fail. We don't want anybody to look at us and look down on us or this or that. And we feel like, well, if my positioning shows that, if I show that, then I'm weak. But I don't know. I guess if anything, what Tiffany really showed me was that the more vulnerable I am, the more I open up and I show you guys that I'm not perfect, the more relatable I become as well. And the more I'm able to actually be a testament to you, the more I'm able to actually witness to you and say, look, this is what happens. And this is what you can do. And man, believe me, I've been where you are. I've been sweating and in the bed at 1 o'clock in the morning and you can't go to sleep because, man, you don't know how you're going to pay this. And you don't know where the money's going to come in. But the brain is amazing. It's definitely a solution-based, I want to say organ, but that's not really true. It's a solution-based instrument, right? But the thing is we've got to use it in the correct way. You can't let your brain come up with solutions and then all of a sudden let the ants go nuts, right? And all of a sudden have all these automatic negative thoughts come to it. Well, you could do this. Oh, how can I do that? I don't even know this, and I don't know that, and I don't know this. That started to happen to me, and then I stopped listening to it. And I went, well, you could do this, and I just went and did it. I just went and found a radio station, figured out how to get on. Nobody showed me how to do it. I didn't have a mentor. None of that. I just did it. I just did it with the magazine. I just did it with a lot of things because the reality is nobody's going to give me anything. So I have to go out and make it happen. I have to go out and take responsibility. I can't blame anybody else because they don't have time to sit there and walk me through it. I'm not handing them 35 grand or 50 grand or 100 grand or whatever it is. Because what I've also realized is if you really want people to help you really dial something in for your business, you're going to be paying them a lot of money. Period. I just gave Kent $7,500 to help us dial in our logo and branding for the Gentry Group and to build out our funnel systems for the LinkedIn groups. No problem doing it because I want results. I don't want to pay $200 to somebody to have them do it and it ends up not working right and this and that. I want results. And I'm willing to pay to get the results. I'm willing to do what it takes. Whatever he can't do, I'll do myself because I will not fail and I will not give up. And there's no way that anybody is going to come to the party with more energy or more determination than me. I will do whatever it takes. The question is, when you look inside of you, what do you see in that mirror? Do you see that person that'll do whatever it takes? Or do you see somebody that has an excuse after excuse after excuse? Do you see somebody that's literally just chained to the ground because of this and that and this and that and this and that? Guys, excuses, you got to get rid of them. You got to get rid of them. You're going to sleep less. You're going to do less. You're going to have less fun. I'm telling you right now, the road to success is challenging, but once you get there, nothing else is like it. And success doesn't mean money necessarily. For me, a lot of the beginning, success was all about, I wanted to just be with my family. I wanted to have a life where my kids were always around me, where I was impacting their lives, where we were becoming a closer family so that I didn't have to worry about if any of them got sick like my son did, that I would lose any time with them. I didn't want to worry about the fact that I did cats in the cradle, that I just said, oh, later, later, later. And then all of a sudden I didn't have the opportunity for later to be there. So I wanted my reality to be with my children, with my family. That's my success, right? And then after that, then it was all about, okay, now I want to create companies. I want to make a ton of money and I want to start giving back. I want to be a philanthropist. I want to impact the world in a positive way. I want to be on stage in front of 2,000 people with somebody introducing me saying, without you, none of this would have happened. Those words, which means I've got to do some pretty amazing things to get that to happen. But I'm willing to. I'm willing to step up to that game. I'm willing to focus on what I'm going to do and not what I've done because it's not where I've been. I'm not driving my car looking down or looking backwards. I've removed the rearview mirrors out of my car of life because where I was has no direct reflection on where I'm going. Believe me, where I'm going is a whole lot better. And who I am is a whole lot better. Every day I break the mold of who I am to become a better person. Every day I'm convincing myself that I'm better today than I was yesterday. I'm telling myself that I can do anything. And I'm saying, believe in you because my God, everybody else is going to. I will set the stage for my greatness. The question is, are you going to set yours? And I'm not saying I want to take away from your greatness because we all have amazing greatness inside of us. I'm showing you what I literally do to change my reality. I'm sharing with you the steps that I take and the effort that I put in to ensuring my success and ensuring that I reach the goals that I want. This year was one of the most challenging years at the beginning because it seemed like my world was over, man. Everything ended. Everything on December 31st this year, like almost everything in my life just ended the way it was. And coast to coast ended up kind of shattering, right? Ivan's doing his thing now with insurance, which is great. I mean, it's awesome that everybody's doing what they're doing, but I felt abandoned. I felt like, man, are you kidding me right now? Like, what in the world is going on? And then a comment was made. It was, you can't rely on me. And it's weird. I can only remember those words. You can't rely on me. And I stopped and I was like, they're right. I've got to stop relying on everybody else to get where I want to go. Even as big as I was at this point, and even as much as, man, gosh, I already had the challenge going. I'd been writing my goals for a year and a half. Literally, you would think that wasn't an issue of mine, but it was. I was relying on my partners not to do more of the work, but to do a different aspect of the work and to completely handle it. And because of that, I was so far removed from all those things that I had no control over anything that was happening in that space. All I could do is drive traffic places, right? But I had no effect over the result. And so that's when January 1st, I decided I was done with that. And I was going to start taking the results. I was going to start making the phone calls. I was going to start engaging with everybody. I was going to start making it happen. And man, that was one of the most painful things I've ever had to do. I hate talking on the phone. I just do. Because every time I talk on the phone, it always means that there's going to be some kind of end to it, right? Nobody talks on the phone and comes up with these ideas, and then there isn't any follow-up, right? So if I talked on the phone with you and we come up with this great idea, guess what that means, right? Especially based on what Chris said. That means that I've got a ton more work in front of me while the person I just talked to is going to go ahead and skate along. It just kind of seems to happen with me. I do all the work and my partners kind of just not float along, but it's just not the same. And for me, it was hard for me to wrap my head around that I was going to bring more of that into my life. But at the same time, if I wanted to get where I was going to go, I was going to have to do it. I was going to have to look at the fact that, look, I'm going to get 25% of whatever I bring in because I need to bring in partners that can get me and I can leverage off of it and they can leverage off me. And with that mindset, within 3 months, I'm actually making more with the opportunities and the toll roads, I guess, that I've created. I'm making more off of those than I ever did with C2C or any of the opportunities we had because they didn't all fulfill. They didn't all get to fruition, right? And so I think that that's really important because as maybe, I don't know, personally, I would say as embarrassing as that is, or as much as that makes me not look like I got where I wanted to, or whatever it is that I'm trying to really kind of say, right? The reality is I had to go through it. Those things had to happen for what has happened now. Because if I wouldn't have made all those decisions, if I wouldn't have gone through that pain in December, January, if I wouldn't have decided that I wanted to make a different aspect and I wanted more out of my life and I was willing at this point to do whatever it took, and I was going to throw away the excuses. If that wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't have the U.S. Real Estate Journal Right Now magazine. I wouldn't have the two of the biggest LinkedIn groups. I wouldn't have the Gentry group. None of that would be there because I'd still be over here going, man, hopefully someday this will happen. This is going to be awesome. Twiddling my thumbs, right? So I'm sharing this because as embarrassing as it is, as much as it sucks, I also have the other side of that coin. I have the part that, yeah, I had to make those decisions. I had to go through that change, but I also am now here because of it. I'm more happy than I've ever been in my entire life right now. I am closer to everything I've ever wanted right now because of all of that pain that I went through. Because even the pain that I've gone through in the last year, dealing with what's his face on Facebook. I mean, man, here, he goes from selling real estate to selling strips. I go from selling real estate to having LinkedIn, to having the magazine, to having the radio show, all these things. I've grown, right? I've gotten to a better place. So for me, it's like, that's why I wrote the thing, man, just pull up a seat and watch what's about to happen. Because everything that I've been talking about is all starting to pop now. It's all starting to come to fruition. I mean, you're seeing the things literally happening as we speak. And I think that that's part of why I want to share this too, because I want you guys to really witness this transition. I want you to see not how easy it is, because I'm not saying it's easy, but how simple it is. It's really 1 + 1 = 2. 2 + 2 = 4. It was really just going and continuing to go along the road. It was believing in myself when nobody else would. It was fighting for that desire. It was looking inside and saying, I don't care if I look like a loser, if I feel like a loser, I'm not. I'm incredible. Last year when I kept doing the mantras with you guys, it was more for me. Like I kept telling you guys too, it was funny. I kept saying, man, I do these more for me than I do for you. I do them more for me than I do for you. And it was true. I was speaking to myself. All of those challenges were mine. All of those things I was going through were mine. When I say, man, guys, sometimes I know you feel like the world is coming to an end. That's me. I feel like that. But I'm just talking in third person because I've got to assume that I'm not the only person that feels like this, that I'm not the only one going through this. And I want you to see as an example of where I am, what I'm doing. And when you hear how bad it was, when you hear how challenging, how hard it was, and then you see and go back and you look at all the things that I posted and how I reacted and how I talked, you'll see that they were very different. That what I was going through in my life was not represented in any way, shape, or form out in the marketplace. I didn't let it affect me. I didn't let it define me. I believed in me. And more than anything, I wanted my girls to believe in me. I wanted them to be proud. I want them. I am not kidding. My girls will make $1 million before they're 10. They just will. They will absolutely. I've got 3 years before Haley turns 10. She will generate $1 million in profit, or $1 million gross in real estate. She will create that by the time she's 10. I'm going to make sure that by the time my girls turn 18, all my children, we've got a son on the way now, which is just awesome. But all of my children will be millionaires on their own, by their own accord, by the time they're 10. And I say that because the one thing that I want from them more than anything is for them to know that they never have to worry about money. They don't have to worry about income. I want them to be so smart that they've generated their own, that they know how to, they got their own lottery machine. It's right here. They can create that lottery machine anytime they want. You need 100 grand, boom, let's go create a deal. Let's go make a deal. Let's go network. Let's go find a need. Let's go find a pain. Let's go find a problem, and let's create a solution. And let's maximize our abilities. They will think like that. And then they can do whatever they want. As long as I know that they can make money, I don't care if they're garbage collectors. I don't care if they're teachers. I don't care what they do, right? And I think teachers are awesome. So that's not what I meant. But we all know teachers don't make millions of dollars. But man, how sick would that be to be able to be a millionaire and go and be a teacher because you truly care about helping kids, not because it's your career choice. You're not going there so you can become the principal and this and that. You're going there just because you truly want to help kids. That's what I want out of my family. And that's really what I want for all of the people around me. In that article that I wrote on Facebook, I also said that I think part of the reason I went through all of those ego bruises, right? All of those shots to my ego was so that I didn't become a dick. So that I didn't become rude, so that I didn't become pompous, so that I didn't become like Armando, right? So that I stayed grounded, so that I care about people. And I don't care how much money I make at this point. That's not going to change. I know what it's like to fail. I know what it's like to not win. I know what it's like to feel like a loser, and I don't want to feel like that ever again. And I really don't want anybody else to either. But a lot of times we have to go through our own pain. We have to go through our own challenges in order to make it. For me, I think a lot of it had to do with I was a hotshot and I needed to be tamed. I needed the wind taken out of my sails so that I was able to be more real. And I think because of that, I'm a lot more approachable, and I really search for solutions. Like, for instance, I had somebody on the LinkedIn group. They were like, well, if they can fix my credit, have them prove it, right? I'll send them my stuff. Here's all my information. They can make it happen. I'm like, bro, are you kidding me right now? A, I don't work for you, so I'm not doing any of that. B, the only reason I put this up here was because I'm using it, and I think that they're awesome. I see the results, and I want to continue to use them, right? And I'm going to share with the world. I'm going to share that with the world because that's what I am. I am a promoter. I promote things that I do. I promote things that I love. That's just who I am. But nobody's going to listen to me if I promote a bunch of crap. So that's why, for me, my reputation and everything that I'm building, my brand, it's important that anything that I recommend is 100% accurate, that what I say is true. And so for me, that's why I use them, or I am using them, I guess I should say. I want to be an 850. I want to be able to buy whatever I want, whenever I want it. I want that ability to get 3%, 2%, some ridiculous percentage, right? And the difference is between a 720 and an 850, it's huge when it comes to buying power. Huge. So for me, if I want to get that extra buying power, I'm going to need to step up. I'm going to need to drive home and do all this homework that I have to do to get my credit up there, opening up these cards and all this different stuff in order to get from that 700 range into that 850 range. But for me, it's about what is my goal? Where do I want to be? I want to be controlling $200+ million. I want 5,000 doors in the next 3 years. If I had an 850 score, I could raise a lot more money very quickly, a lot through traditional that we could get really low rates and get into maybe some apartment complexes, right? So there's all kinds of things that I could do to create a reality. And that's why it's important for me. This right here is 2015. I hope that's your doorway to heaven as well. It's all about your reality, and it's right through that door. The question is, are you going to walk through it? Are you going to step through it? Or are you going to just sit there and look at it? Wish that you could go through. Are you going to be a library? Are you going to take all the information that you know and then store it? Because a library may be great to look at, but it's certainly not going to get anything done. It's just a building. You are the action to that, right? You become the solution in your life, not the obstacle. Become the solution. Become a solution-based thinker. When you're thinking about anything, stop worrying about the problems and start looking at, well, how could you solve it? How could you solve it? How could you solve it? And then if you really want to get technical, how could you solve it in a fun way? How could you solve it that it'd be sustainable? How could you solve it that you could make money and everybody would enjoy paying you? See, when we add those little things to the end of those questions, we start getting amazing results. Results that actually we'll take action on. It's the fact that when things don't seem fun to us, we don't want to take action because I don't really want to go do that, right? So because I don't want to go do that, I'm going to push it off, I'm going to push it off, and I'm going to push it off. You must be willing to shatter who you are for who you want to become. When you're looking in the mirror, which one do you see? Do you see the guy on the left or do you see the guy on the right? Do you see the current you or the future you? See, in my mind, the person on the left doesn't even exist anymore. I don't even see him. They've just evaporated. Because my reality is I am that person on the right all the time, 100%. And people want to come to me. They want my advice. They want my information. They want to invest with me. Because I'm good at what I do. Because I've failed before and I've made the mistakes. I know what to look out for. I know what to look for in an operator. Believe me, I know. And now, my team is untouchable. You can't, believe me, you can't touch what we can do. Nobody can. And you'll see that being proved very shortly as well. Okay, so let's keep going. I'm sorry about keeping you guys on. I kind of just went off a little bit, but hopefully this touched somebody. Hopefully one of you guys, it reached somebody. And I love the fact that there's about 45 people on here right now. So that's awesome. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. So here it is. When you step into your solutions, you step out of your problems. You can't do both at once, right? A few years ago, I wanted to start drinking more water, right? I was drinking Monsters and just all this crap. I just wasn't healthy. So I wanted to start drinking more waters. And based off of my weight, man, these waters right here, 16, I need to drink 10 of these a day. Okay? So 10 of these bad boys a day. I don't know if you've ever tried that before, but 10 of these things a day is like one every 2 hours, I think is what I kind of nailed it. Wait, 10, that'd be 20 hours. So that's too much. It was like one every hour and a half or something, right? And I would literally have to start slamming these things. At the point that I was in taking all this water, I didn't drink Monsters. I didn't drink tea. I didn't drink anything else, man. I could barely get all the water down, right? With eating and everything, I could barely get all the water down. that's when I realized that if I wanted to change my reality, if I flooded my mind with positive, if I flooded my mind with solutions, there was no more room for the challenges. There was no more room for the problems. There was no more room for the ants. Nothing could get in my way, because the reality was I was flooding my brain with positives. I was flooding my brain with you can do it, with you're amazing. I was listening to Tony Robbins, Eric the hip hop preacher. I was listening to all of those guys. You had, anyways, Les Brown. I was listening to all of them probably 5 to 6 hours a day. Now, believe me, you're going to get through all of their material very fast listening at that pace. So then I started repeating it now, right? So now I'm listening to it over and over, and then I find ones that I really liked, and I listen to them over and 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 over until all I could hear were those quotes. All I could hear was pain is temporary, but if you do nothing, pain is forever. Pain is temporary. It may last a day, it may last a week, it may last a month, it may last a year. But if you do nothing, it's forever. If we don't make a change, we're going to consistently stay in that. And that one statement got me to move. That one statement got me to quit chewing. That one statement got me to lose weight. That one statement got me to take action in so many ways, because I realized the pain was going to be there no matter what. And the faster I went through it, the faster I got to the promised land, the faster I got to the results that I really wanted, the reward, right? We're so focused on the challenge, we take our eyes off the reward. And when you take your eyes off the reward, getting there becomes real difficult. It's easy to become distracted at that point, right? If I don't see that reward that I really want, whether that be money, whether that be a person, whether that be a job, if I don't see that at the end, I'm gonna get squirrel syndrome. And I'm just going to, oh, look at this. This is pretty shiny objects. Because I'm looking for a solution. Why? Because I haven't made my mind up. I haven't fully committed to this solution. That's the only reason we have shiny object syndrome. We haven't committed to that solution. We haven't committed to that strategy. And at some point, you've got to commit. Commit to, and you don't have to commit forever, but say, hey, I'm going to do this for 6 months, period. I'm going to give it every single thing I have. And guess what? If I fail, perfect. I'll have learned a lot of stuff. I'll be that much better. But if I succeed, I won't be afraid to keep going. I think a lot of times we're afraid of succeeding. We're afraid of getting where we want to go. Because, man, what if they say yes? Now what? What do I do now? How do I sustain it, right? We're always just thinking about the next step. And so when we get past that step, if we don't know the following one, we flip out. We lose our mind. We get scared. It's the unknown. But the reality is, if you keep focusing on just the solutions, the problems, they're gonna go away. So here's our task for the week. Man, I am way behind, but here's our task for the week. I want you guys to write down two affirmations that you need to hear this week. What are 2 things that you are struggling with, right? And then every morning, I want you to say them to yourselves in the bathroom mirror. And every night, say them to yourselves in the bathroom mirror before you go to bed. So first thing in the morning, you're going to say those affirmations. And then right before you go to bed, you're going to say those affirmations. All right. And I want it to be, it's got to be something good, right? I am beautiful. I've lost weight. I lose weight because I eat healthy and I have fun doing it. I lose weight because I eat healthy and I have fun doing it, right? Things like that. Things that are going to take a little bit of time to really sink in and really lock down, okay? But that is our task for the week, all right? Questions are the key. This is actually going to be called Vision Ignition, and I'll be showing you guys that stuff later. What is communication? Verbal communication, that's what I'm talking about. Nonverbal communication. Finding Ground Zero was last week, and this week is all about creating motivation and willpower from pain, all right? So what does that really mean, right? What is willpower? Look, willpower, when you really kind of get down to it, willpower is just our drive to overcome being lazy, right? Willpower is saying, I'm not going to eat junk food. And then during the day when you're really hungry, you still don't eat junk food. you end up going through the hunger pains. And I've had this when I quit eating. I became a vegan, actually, for about a year and a half before Shannon got pregnant with Gracelyn, and then started eating all this meat during the pregnancy and basically completely blew me off of being a vegan. But while I was a vegan and I wouldn't eat meat, would not touch meat, wouldn't eat cheese. I still don't eat cheese, but wouldn't eat meat. There were times when I would be traveling, right? And I'd be in an airport and I'd be starving. And the only things available were meat or sugar. That was the other thing. I didn't eat any sugar. So it was like I couldn't eat. There was nothing there for me to eat. So I would go hungry. I would go hungry as opposed to eat. Like, that's how dedicated I was. That is willpower. Now, why did I have that much willpower? Because my daughter had lost all her hair and I was freaking out and I couldn't figure out what was going on. I knew my son at 5 had brain cancer. Here, my daughter just lost all her hair. And I'm like, okay, I've got to make significant changes in my life to start getting different results, because something is wrong. Like, why are my kids having these problems? Like, what the hell, man? Nobody else I know has these issues. So I made a huge change to our diet and didn't bring her hair back. But it taught me that willpower really comes from focusing on what you want, focusing on that end result. All right. The action is the foundation of all success. Look, willpower is just about being able to take action. It's about being able to stay focused. And I'm going to tell you right now, and this is kind of what I was saying earlier, that at least if you take action, if you're wrong, you're moving. And most likely you're moving in the right direction. And even if it's not totally right, you can adjust slightly. But if you don't move, you're not moving at all. You're just staying there. You're waiting for somebody to come along, pick you up, and take you where you want to go. And I'm telling you right now, that bus isn't coming. It's just not. The only bus that's going to be coming is welfare. If that's what you want, well, then I guess get in line. But if that's not what you want, then it's time to get up and start making things happen. It's time to stop relying on the world to fix your life, and start relying on you to change your world. All right. Okay. What else do we got here? Action-based results. Absolutely. I love that. This is another good one. When we consistently tell ourselves, I'm not different, I'm not good enough, we suffocate our light. You don't need to put yourself down in any way, shape, or form. You should always be building yourself up. Always be relighting that candle. Don't let anybody blow it out. You are amazing. And I'm saying that to me as much as I'm saying that to you, because people try to put me down too. I get emails, I get stupid things, I get people that are morons, right? It's all good. But do I let them define me? Do I let them tell me who I am? No, I know who I am. Even that the guy, I don't even want to say his name. So even he couldn't define me. Tried, but couldn't. Because only I can define who I am. And only you can define who you are. So make sure you define yourself the right way. All right? How do you find what you really want? A lot of that's about digging in. It's about, and I love this one too, right? I'm a monster because I unleash the beast inside. If you know that you can do anything, if you knew that if you tried, you could accomplish it, what would you do? What would you do different tomorrow if you knew you couldn't fail? That's what I'd like to know. Because when you take that word out of your dictionary, when you take failure away from the equation, all of a sudden you become a superhero. You become the Hulk. You can do anything. Why? Because it's impossible to fail, right? Now, how can pain help you? Well, let's talk about that. When you have a back pain, do you go to the doctor or do you just let that pain just sit there? No. Pain motivates us to make a change. If you were running and every time you ran, you fell, you'd stop running. If you kept lifting your arm up and every time you did that, it hurt, you'd stop doing that. Pain prevents, pain causes us to make changes in our life, right? So sometimes life doesn't give you the right amount of pain to make a change. That time it's your turn to step up. You need to start doing that. How can you do that? Well, remember how I said stop focusing on negative things, only focus on the positive? Well, if you want to make a big change, start focusing on the negatives that you get from not making the change, right? Well, if I don't change, this is going to keep happening. If I don't change, this is going to keep happening. If I don't change, this is going to keep happening. I don't want these things to keep happening. Well, if I don't change, these things are going to keep happening. I don't want these things to keep happening. So that means I'm going to have to change, because I certainly don't want those things to keep happening. Instead of going, I don't want to change because I'm going to have to do all those new things, instead of looking at it from that aspect where that's where the negative lies, switch it. Start looking at all the things that you're going to lose if you don't make the change. Start looking at all the things that you won't gain if you don't make the change. Then you're associating the negative feelings with not changing instead of changing. I hope that makes sense, because that is probably one of the biggest keys that I learned of how to do what I need to do. Why is my voice going out, man? Well, actually, I know why. I had a webinar with, I did the CAN webinar with Haley and Jeff earlier today. So at 4. So I actually did a webinar for 45 minutes, and then got off and then did another Now I've got this one. So my voice is kind of going, but we should be almost done here. What do I do next? Right? And that's always everybody's question. Well, what do I do next? Well, okay, I get it now. So what can I do from here? And for me, what you can do from here is you can start to focus your life. Go join Pete Asmus' 21-day challenge. You can go to, I think it's the 21daychallenge.com. And you can join that challenge, or you can go to c2crea.com, and then right on the right side, there's Pete's 21-day challenge. You can go there, peteasmus.com. You can go to that one, and you'll see the challenge there as well. The challenge is all about taking your life seriously. It's all about, for 21 days, writing down your goals every day. If you don't want to post them, don't post them. But it's all about you. The only reason I was having everybody post them was so I could verify it. But at the end of the day, I don't need to verify it. It doesn't matter to me. Like, not that it doesn't matter, but it doesn't affect my life. So if you don't want to post it, if you don't want to write it, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. Again, whether you do the challenge or not doesn't put money in my pocket, doesn't affect my life, doesn't get me more deals, doesn't do any of that stuff. What it does do, though, is it will change your life. It will focus you. It will show you what you really want out of life, and it'll show you where your problem areas are. Because every time you go, if you were to write down every day, I want to lose weight, I want to lose weight, I want to lose weight. By the third day, when you're eating a Dairy Queen, eating ice cream, you're going to be thinking, I want to lose weight. How am I going to lose weight if I keep eating the ice cream? Well, that's not going to happen. And then you're going to start to make small changes. And all those small hinges that open big doors, those are the things that we're looking for. It's all the small things that you can do. It's not the big things. The big things, they're great. But trust me when I tell you, the small things add up and exponentially grow. It's not about one big thing. It's about a million little things that will all create the person that you truly want to be. And that's the other thing, is focusing on the person you want to be. Focusing on who you want to be, not who you are. A lot of times we keep looking in that mirror and we keep seeing us instead of seeing the person we want to be. I want you guys to start focusing on who you want to be. Start making decisions based on that person. What would that person do? Start playing a game in your head that you already are. I'm already that person. And then start becoming it. It'll be weird, but almost overnight it'll seem like to you, you're going to turn around and go, oh my gosh, I've been doing this a year. I've been doing this long. I've been doing this long. I remember going, man, I would love to be able to donate. I'd love to be able to have a charity. I'd love to be able to do this. And I just kept thinking, that's too far away. And now it's been over a year a year and a half now that we've been doing Everybody Can Impact. That Haley's been out and Madison have been out raising money for children in the hospital. That happened because they started taking action. That happened because they believed in themselves, and they had the support from me, obviously, that pushed that. So what happens if you don't have a me? What happens if you don't have somebody to push you? Then it's time for you to push you, because I don't have anybody to push me either. I've got to be the one that's looking in the mirror going, Pete, you can do this. Pete, stop being a baby. Grow up. Don't worry about it. He's not going to help you. Don't blame him. Blame you. You help you more. Get it done. Stop looking over there and looking at them and saying it's their fault. It doesn't matter that they didn't get it to you. You need to find a different way. Stop blaming others. I have to tell myself that every week, probably. Because I have legitimate reasons that, man, this person, I mean, if it wasn't for them and I have to stop saying it, doesn't matter. I chose to work with them. So it still ultimately relies to my fault. So if I don't want that result again, I need to choose somebody else. And all of a sudden, boom, I'm back in power. I'm back in the driver's seat, right? This is your life. This is your book. This is your book. Don't let somebody else write it for you. Take the pen out of their hand and start writing your life yourself. There's no other way that you can get where you want to go. Nobody has your vision. Nobody knows what you really want. It's only you. All right. Okay. So here is a link to the second largest real estate group on LinkedIn. If you're not part of it, you should definitely go and join it. It is, all you got to do is go to gentryinvestmentgroup.com. I also just spent, man, it's even weird to say, $1,000 to buy the domain, the Gentry Group. And I've never spent, I've probably spent $1,000 on domains, but I have like 300 of them. So the fact that I've got that I spent that much on one domain is a stepping point for me. It's crazy. Again, I'm sharing these things because I think this is what I do. I get excited about all the little wins. I don't care about all the big things. I'll get excited about somebody, saying, hey, I want to talk to you. Man, they said they want to talk to me. You know what that means, right? Just in my head, that's how it goes. And then guess what? When I go and meet with them, what do you think the chances are of something really positive coming out of that? Because I put that in my head over and over and over again, that something great's going to happen. I do it all the time. My mind is a crystal ball, and it can predict my future. And so can yours. In fact, we do predict our future. We predict if we're going to have fun at the party or if we're going to have a crappy time. We predict if we're going to make a difference in somebody's life or if they're too far gone to even impact. You predict all of your emotions. You predict all of your actions. So start using a crystal ball that has a positive spin, not one that has a negative spin. You have that choice. Make it happen. All right. I love this. What if your biggest fear wasn't? What if what you had to go through didn't exist? Again, what if you couldn't fail tomorrow morning? What would you do? We have to let go of the past to build our future, right? That has to happen. Okay. And then you've got to get through your comfort zone. I'm going to go ahead and spin through these real quick here. And go to, this is the other thing I was talking about. I'm going to go ahead and talk real quick. For all of you guys out there, if you do have challenging credit, if your credit isn't where you wanted it to be, go check out c2ccredit.com. Again, they are only $200 to start. It's only $79 a month. You're probably going to only need it for about 3 months. They basically raise your score about 90 points in 90 days, unless you want to get to that 800. And then it's going to be obviously a little bit longer because you're going to have coaching and things like that. So I wanted to get that out there. Here are the books. Force Your Dreams into Reality. That's already out. You can go to forceyourdreams.com and you can download that book. Creating Unbreakable Habits to Become an Unmistakable... my mouth. I'm talking so much, it's drying out now, and I'm tripping over my words. Creating Unbreakable Habits to Become an Unmistakable Success. That's going to be the next one. These are it's going to be kind of the book will be a combination between both of these. So it's called Vision Ignition, the beginner's guide to action formulas for dream achievement, because everything in there is an action formula. Everything in there. If you guys heard it, it's all about AI, right? Actionable information. Actionable information. It's all about actionable information. Information is only great if you can do something with it. But if you can't, man, I don't need to read a poem, right? I want to know how I can get something out of life. And that's what I write. I write how to inspire. And with that, I wanted to put this one up as well, because I always say you put the why in our success. And I don't think you guys really understand why I say that. And I think when you see it visually, it's much more clear why I say you put the why in our success. Because it's all about you. You can't spell success without you, right? All right, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys being on. I know we went a little bit long, but I've got to go. I am packing. I am going to Phoenix this week to go do some filming with my partners out there and to go and build another system that we're working on. Lock up the radio show, get that all dialed in. When I get back, I'll be doing the treatment for the new show that we're doing that's going to be coming out on TV. I think we're looking at A&E. It's either A&E or Bravo. I don't know. It's one of the two. But I'm telling you, awesome things are happening. Make sure you stay connected. Make sure, I said in the beginning of this series, I said, watch what happens over the next 8 weeks. I had no idea the TV was going to be part of this thing, but it's just really cool. I'm definitely glad you guys are here. And I hope you guys are inviting people to this. Make sure that you get the message out, and let's get as many people around you to have this positive mindset so that your life starts to catapult in a positive direction as well. Guys, thank you so much for being on tonight. I definitely appreciate it. I hope you have a great night, and I hope you guys really live your life to the best ability possible. Go make something happen. I'll see you guys next week.
This is how we roll.